Hey there guys, welcome to Yakety Mac. As always, I appreciate you watching. I've been looking forward to this one. We're about to get out on the water and test out these two highly rated spincast reels. We're going to see if a quality spincast is a viable alternative for someone who maybe struggles with the sensitivity of a bait caster or the clumsiness of a spinning reel. Maybe you or someone you know is still gaining some experience, or maybe you're just tired of dealing with backlashes and tangled line. Whatever the case may be, we're going to see if a modern spin cast is a possible solution. And while we're at it, just for some extra fun, we're going to pit these two reels against each other. It's going to be a battle royale between the Zebco Bullet and the KastKing Brutus. Two well-respected brands, two very different price points. We're going to put them through the paces and see which one comes out on top. So if you're ready, I'm ready. Let's go fishing.
Ooh, yakety mac.
Okay guys, so here we are. We're about to get started with our test and competition. Real quick, do me a favor and let me know if you like this camera position. I'm trying to put the camera in a way that you can see what's going on out in front of me. I want you to be able to see the lure hit the water. I want you to be able to see the retrieve. So let me know. I appreciate any sort of feedback. Let me know if you like this camera position or not. So guys, I am going to start off with the KastKing Brutus. I told you in the intro that these two reels had very different price points. And the KastKing Brutus comes in at $35. It is the cheaper of the two reels. And let's see here. Get it over here so you can see it. So there is the shape of the reel. It's got kind of a unique tapered look on both ends. I'd say it kind of looks like a football or maybe a Zeppelin. It's got an aluminum housing on it as well as an aluminum handle, and the paddles here have a rubbery feel to them, so they're not going to get slippery at all. The back half of the reel is either some sort of a composite or plastic. I think the button is definitely plastic, but it's got some nice ridges on it here that will keep your thumb from slipping off. It's got a good feel to it. The handle is reversible, so you can set this up for a left or right hand retrieve, which is nice. And it has what's called a 5+1 bearing system, so basically 6 bearings. That's pretty good for a spin cast reel. It really is. Should make for a smooth retrieve. We'll find out here in just a moment. And it's got the drag dial on top. That's fairly common with a lot of spin cast reels. So let's get it out there and see how it does. I'm going to make my first couple of casts out here into open water. It's been a long time since I have used a spin cast reel, so I'm just going to throw out where there's no danger of me snagging anything, just to get a feel for it. And to let you guys know too, for the competition aspect of this, the KastKing Brutus versus the Zebco Bullet, I have set these up identical. They are both spooled with the same Berkley 10-pound monofilament line. They are on identical Berkley 6.5-foot medium action casting rods, and they both have the same size and weight lure tied on, which is the whopper plopper. I want to be able to see if these reels get the lure up on top doing what it's supposed to do. So with that being said, let's make our first cast and see how the Brutus does. Okay, that was nice. The line released as soon as I released the button, and it went out. I'm guessing that's about a 30-yard cast in front of me, 35 yards. And the lure is on top doing what it's supposed to be doing. Hopefully you can see that. The whopper plopper is plopping away, making a lot of commotion on top of the water. That was nice. Let's do that one more time. Make sure it wasn't a fluke. Okay. Again, a 35, 40-yard cast. The button engages as soon as I as soon as I turn the handle, so that's good. It's got a very nice response time on it, and the retrieve is very smooth. That feels very nice. It's not does not feel like it's grinding. It does not feel like it's laboring. It is a very smooth retrieve, and it's doing a very good job of getting the topwater lure up and running the way it's supposed to run. Try to get in here a little bit closer to some cover. Now I'm probably going to have some cast accuracy issues because letting go of the button at the right time is new for me, or I say it's new. It's been so long since I've used spincast that it's basically new. Okay, that was good. And once again, a very nice retrieve. Let's get in here a little tighter and see what happens. Wow, actually I think that was lucky. I wasn't exactly sure where that was going to end up. But it turns out that it was a nice cast. I got up in tight to some cover like I wanted to. Yeah, that would be my biggest challenge for this is knowing like when to stop the lure if I'm getting too aggressive. All right, guys, so the KastKing Brutus. That is a nice feeling spin cast reel. If you're a current spin cast user, then I think this would be an absolutely seamless transition. If you're currently trying to use a bait caster or you're using a spinning reel, it take a little bit more getting used to, but this is definitely a viable option. I'm going to continue to cast around here towards some cover and practice with this thing. We'll see if we can't catch us a fish. Okay guys, I made several casts and retrieves with the KastKing Brutus, and I will say my overall impression is very impressed. So now it's time to move on to the Zebco Bullet. So we'll take a look at the Bullet. A little bit of a different look to it. It's got a more oblong, I call it kind of a hatchback. The front of it is a little like rounded off. The back of it is more chopped off, and it definitely has a bigger button with a rubbery cover on it. That is really nice. It's got a real nice feel to it. Once again, this is all metal. There's no plastic going on here at all. It's possible that the drag dial might be plastic. I'm not certain of that. The handle is reversible, and it has a very nice kind of a soft touch rubbery feel to it. This is a $100 reel, so considerably more expensive than the Brutus, but we're going to see if it's worth that or not. Pop this lure off here, and we'll do the same thing we did with the Brutus. We'll make a couple of casts here into the open water and see how it does. So first cast with the Zebco Bullet. Wow, okay, little offline. Okay, the one thing I will notice, I will tell you right off of the bat, is that I do not have to reel it as fast as I did the Brutus to get the whopper plopper on top doing what it's doing. This is geared at a 5.1, and it was a noticeable difference. It also has the dual pickup pins inside and you can feel that for sure. And this is I think it's a 9.1 bearing system, which would be essentially 10 bearings. It's either a 9.1 or an 8.1. It is a heavier reel. You can feel the added weight, and I think that's because it's all metal components. They use brass gearing inside. Okay, initial reactions so far, making a couple of 3 casts into open water, is wow, that was smooth. This has more of a bait caster feel to it, no question about it. As far as the solidness of it, there's no real movement. You don't hear any sort of rattling or anything of that sort. Everything feels rock solid with this reel. It definitely has more of a bait caster feel, from everything from the cast to the retrieve. This nice big button here with this rubbery That is a very nice touch. Super impressed with this reel. I'm going to make another cast here in the open water. Little flick of the wrist, and there it goes. That's out there a good 35 to 40 yards. I do not have to reel as fast at all to get that whopper plopper moving. Guys, that is really, really nice. If you're not currently using a spin cast and you're thinking about doing so, letting go of that button at the right time is something that's going to take some getting used to, especially if you're going up towards cover. When you're casting in the open water, it's not such a big deal because you're not necessarily looking to hit a specific target. But when you're trying to be a little bit more pinpoint accurate, letting go of that button at the right time is going to take some getting used to. Everything about this reel is so smooth and so quiet. It'd be interesting when I go back and look at this video, when I start to edit it and get it ready to put together, if I can hear the Brutus as I'm reeling it in. That's something I didn't pay attention to at the time I was testing it out, because I cannot hear this thing at all. So it'd be interesting to see if there's even like a sound difference between these. Something maybe to be aware of that I've done a couple of times here on the Zebco that I did not do on the KastKing is that I have accidentally hit this drag knob a couple of times just resting my thumb up here on top of the reel. So that's something I've noticed on the Zebco that I did not have happen to me on the KastKing.
Okay, guys, I spent about the past hour going back and forth between the two reels. Unfortunately, no fish to report, but I do believe that I am ready to offer up my assessment, two different assessments. And first I want to say that I have discovered, maybe you all know this, but I did not, I just did it while I was out here, is that I was a little worried about being aggressive with my cast because I had no way to stop the line. With a bait caster, I simply put my thumb on the reel and I'm able to stop the line, so I can go aggressively towards structure. And I was hesitant to do that for the longest time with either one of these reels until I realized that all you have to do to stop your line midair is just press the button in again. And so I'll demonstrate that real quick. And press the button and the lure drops. So I was able then to start getting more aggressive, going towards structure and going towards my targets, and that was nice. But my main purpose for coming out here was to find out if a quality spin cast is a viable alternative for someone that maybe struggles with either a bait caster or spinning reel or both. And the answer to that is a resounding yes. Both of these reels are a very viable alternative if you fall into one of those two categories. In fact, I'll go as far as to say that I would take either one of these two reels over a spinning reel. I do not like spinning reels. I do not like them. I do not like them. And so for me, either one of these two is a viable alternative to a spinning reel. Now the question is, which one of these two reels comes out victorious head-to-head competition? And the answer to that is going to be the Zebco Bullet. The Zebco Bullet is the superior reel between these two reels. It casts better, it retrieves better, it feels better. It is absolutely the better reel between these two. The question comes, is it $65 better? Remember, I stated that the Brutus was a $35 reel and the Bullet was a $100 reel. And I guess the answer to that question lies in what you're trying to accomplish. For me, it is, yes, it is $65 better. And the reason being is because it performs like a bait caster. It performs on, I won't say on par, but it is close to the performance of a bait caster. So yes, I would spend the extra $65 on the Bullet versus the Brutus. However, if that feel and that style isn't necessarily for you, it would be hard to justify the extra $65. You could buy two of the KastKing and still have money left in your pocket for the price of one of the Bullets. So I guess it really depends on what sort of fishing feel that you're going for. For me, hands down, just no money involved, the Bullet is the far superior spin cast reel between the two. The question is it $65 more superior? That's going to depend on whether or not you want that feel of a bait caster. If you do, spend the extra money and get the Zebco. If you just want something that'll stop tangling and get you out and get you into the water, and you're not necessarily concerned about feel, or you're not necessarily concerned about gear ratios and how quickly it retrieves lure, so on and so forth, you would be very happy with the Brutus from KastKing. Now, what I cannot speak to is longevity on either one, but the Zebco feels like it's made for the long haul. I get the feeling from using this reel that I could use this for 10 years. And let's face it, if you're using a spin cast reel, now I know that this isn't blanket across everything, but if you're using a spin cast reel, chances are is that you're not fishing 40 or 50 times a year. If you are, then you have probably adapted to a bait caster or your favorite type of spinning reel. So I believe both of these reels will last for years. But let's say you are one of these guys and you fish a lot and you want a spin cast reel. The Zebco feels like it's going to last much longer and perform at a high level for longer than the Brutus does. Guys, that's going to do it for me today. I got to get back and celebrate the wife's birthday. I appreciate you watching. If you're a subscriber, thank you. If you haven't subscribed yet, I hope you'll consider doing so. I'm going to test out this reel with some braided line and see how the Bullet would do with some braided line. Gives you a little bit more casting distance. It's going to give you obviously more strength, but I'm not sure how it would perform with the braided line. There was nothing in the instructions that came with it that talked about braid, so I'm going to put maybe some 20-pound braided line on here and see how it does. Y'all, I appreciate you watching this video. I always appreciate you stopping by. And remember, no matter what you got going on, always take time to get outside and play.